We're going to give it a few minutes. Let people join. I just hit live. Subscribers show up on Facebook and on YouTube as well. You guys over here at YouTube, you guys over here at Facebook. We're going to give it a couple minutes, let everyone get here collectively, and then we'll go ahead and start getting into this live feed. Alright, so take your time. If you're just joining, grab a drink, grab something to eat, if that's something you want to do. Grab some cigarettes, roll up your weed, do whatever you got to do. Just prepare to sit down and have a good discussion. Tonight's going to be a good one. Not only is it a good one, but it's also my first one. So, hang tight. Thank you for showing up, and we'll get to it here in just a couple of minutes. Let me do something here real quick. Okay, I have one viewer over here on Facebook. Give me 1 second on Facebook, and you as well as on YouTube. Let's see, Jake. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and hop into it. Again, I'm going to post the feeds after we're done, so you guys could even come back and start from the beginning. Okay, so what we're going to talk about, I've been showcasing it all day long, talking about Antifa, November 4th. Most of you guys know who Antifa is. Actually, I'm pretty sure all of you guys do at this point. November 4th, we know. If you guys follow me here on YouTube, or even on Facebook, if you guys follow me on YouTube as well, we all know November 4th, Antifa is promising the start of something big. We don't know, we know what's being stated on their website, but it doesn't say that it's going to be civil war. But we can only imagine with it came out and said November 4th, it's the start of the end. And what they're talking about is protesting the Antifa. I'm sorry, not the Antifa, but the Trump-Pence regime. And they said that they will not stop until their demands are met. And they will go day and night, if they have to. And they're talking about, thousands upon thousands turning into millions. And now we do know with Antifa, in the past, with the protests that we've seen, if they said that they were going to do something, they'll go out in the streets, and they've done it. Some of it's been peaceful, a lot of times it's been non-peaceful. You also got to remember that, when these protests are going on, Antifa is really heavily fighting the police. Anything militarized, they agitate the shit out of them. Now, again, I said in one of my last videos that I totally understand, that even though you may be there to support an idea, and you may not be in violent or agitating, but someone's always going to capitalize on this idea. Someone's always going to agitate, be that agitator within the group. And I think that's where we've really seen much of the back and forth between the police officers and Antifa. Now, I will say, there is police brutality out there. I'll call the kettle black when I see it, guys. But there's also good cops, okay? Mainstream media and everyone else, they're painting the picture to you guys, to us, that all cops are bad, because that's all they show. Okay? So we're hearing all of these stories about good cops, bad cops, bad cops, bad cops, blah, 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 blah. Same narrative over and over and over. But Antifa makes it a point to disobey them. And then when the cops, tell them to cease and desist and time to disperse and actually start to make movements, Antifa quickly turns around, and that's where hell breaks loose, I should say. Alright, so anyways, what we know about November 4th, they're planning a nationwide protest, and they're not stopping until their demands are met. And again, those demands are to have the Trump-Pence regime removed out of power. Alright, now we know, again, like I said, these groups of people, they're known to say something and back it up. We've seen them out in the streets. We've seen how vocal they are. We've seen how violent they could get. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that I believe every little article that comes out on Antifa. Alright, I've read a few of them today that's talking about a commander within Antifa or something like that's talking about beheading Trump supporters. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, guys, this whole scenario of a civil war breaking out, to me, I don't want to believe it. It's like a bad nightmare out of a fairy tale. Growing up, we knew that would have been a worst case scenario, but me growing up in my lifetime, I would have never thought that I would have seen it. So now that we're basically on the back doorstep of a possible civil war, and I say that because, we know that the Democrats, or not the Democrats, but the left, and their ideologies, support the Democratic views. And we know that the Republicans, this election, has been the weirdest one I've ever seen. I've seen so much foul play. I'm almost ashamed to be called an American because of how our representatives, the people that we vote into power, into place to represent me, to represent you, how they've acted the last 30 years. Guys, you think about it. We've had look at where we're at today with the policies. Look at what's going on here in America. These are the politics that we've had in power for the last 30 years that got us to this point. Alright? America spoke. President Trump, he's your president. Best thing to do is just stop. You got 8 years at the most. Okay? But they're trying to overthrow him. And they're not going to stop. They're promising this. Now, I brought out my video as well. And there's a bunch of stuff going back and forth between everybody. Now, it's being stated and it's being said that, Antifa's, they're gearing up for civil war. Again, there's a bunch of stories within the narrative. And we know what's facts. We know what's real, what's concrete. And then we know that this is being spoke of, but there's no evidence backing it up. So at that point, it turns into a conspiracy theory. Until there's actual evidence, until there's something concreted in stone, everything's a conspiracy theory. And there's a lot of people talking about conspiracy theories. It's insane. What's up, Tom? Sorry if you see me looking down. I'm live on YouTube as well as Facebook. I'm doing 2 live streams. Just speaking. Thank you for tuning in. Please share with your people that you think that would actually benefit from hearing about this. If not, it's no big deal. Okay, so anyways, Antifa's got, this planned march. We already know what's going on in politics. Now, people that doesn't really know the whole origins of Antifa until recently, they think of Antifa being like a homegrown terrorist organization. Especially these younger people that don't know how to do their own research. They'd rather live the easy life. And when I say ride that easy life, they would rather come home and turn their TV on and listen to what the TV says, instead of actually getting on, Facebook, or, forget it, Facebook even. Get on and look for yourself and find your own answers. You're going to find fake stories, real stories. The difference is what's your opinion on certain material. You're the one that's spending the time in. You're the one that's developing the opinion. You're the one that's reading and comprehending. You know, so you don't need someone else to tell you what's the truth. You know, and I think as a society, we have all forgot that. You know, we'd rather have someone else. And nowadays, mainly, it's on TV. Again, I really can't speak. Let's call the kettle black. Here I am. I'm on your guys'. However you guys are watching me on YouTube. I don't know if you guys are watching me on your phone, on your PC, streaming to your TV. So, you know, I'm sitting here talking about being on the TV. We'd rather listen to people on TV and tell us how to think. I'm talking about mainstream media. I'm talking about all the different stories, you know. And I think the way this is all going out is because technology, social media, has made everybody connected within a second time. You know, you guys remember back in the day, I mean, before the printing press, it took weeks before we found out something that happened in China. You know, so therefore there was never that drive of knowledge. Society's evolving. Technology's evolving. You know, the human race is evolving. And no one really understands that because change is scary. Okay? We understand that. We know that. That's human basic knowledge. I mean, that's basic bitch shit. Okay? But when you guys have the whole idea of Antifa throwing a civil war in America, you know, that's kind of surreal. Because, you know, we've read that in history books of it happening once in America. And you would think, like, we learned our mistake, or we learned from our mistake, I should say. And we've heard of, you know, other nations, how other, you know, countries live, and how they're governed. You know, look at North Korea, look at, you know, the Middle East countries. We know, look at Ukraine. Ukraine had, you know, basically a coup against them, which that was, you know, in my opinion, you know what, we're not even going to get there. That's going to be another video another time. I really need to stay focused on the topic at hand. So Antifa, November 4th. Now, I've also brought out sanctuary cities, okay? And again, we got to go back to the past of what sanctuary cities was. You got to think of, you know, not a whole lot of people knew what sanctuary cities was. You know, they just heard it but never really wanted to go off and do their own research. Sanctuary cities basically is a place where an illegal immigrant can come and be safe. State law would protect them from federal law. And I brought out a video that, you know, we've seen major Antifa activity in these sanctuary cities. So I said, if you guys are within a sanctuary city, be careful. I'm not saying that for sure Antifa is going to cause civil war. You know, I know that there's a lot of rhetoric out there saying that Antifa is going to go off and start beheading Trump supporters, beating up on, you know, white people. You know, I know what's being said, but again, like I said, you got to take facts and what we know about facts that's in concrete, and then conspiracy theories, okay? I mean, there's not a whole lot of evidence to back a lot of this stuff up, other than multiple news sources that has no credibility whatsoever. Fly-by-night news sites. That's what I call them, basically. So, anyways, also at the same time that Antifa's doing their protests, the Department of Defense here in America is planning a blackout drill. It's being said that, if you guys know anything science-wise, you know, the colonial mass ejections inside the sun, there's colonial holes that shoot out CMEs all the time. And one major one happened back in the 1800s. I can't remember, again, I'm sorry what the event was called, but it was strong enough to knock out the power grid. The same idea of that as being like an EMP attack. But this would be from the sun. A colonial mass ejection is actually wind speeds that's full of gamma rays, radiation rays, and it attacks, you know, it hits Earth. The reason why we don't really have too much complications is because our magnetosphere combats it. That's how we have, you know, the whole, the auroras, you know, the northern lights and all that. It's the reflection of the gamma rays and the radiation working within the magnetosphere. So they're really going to work on mimicking a blackout from a solar mass ejection. they're talking about that the possibility of, now, they're saying this is happening nationwide, and the reason why it's not being brought out mainstream too much is because they're feared for nationwide panic. And again, can you imagine having a nationwide panic at the same time that Antifa is promising this massive protest? It's not going to be good, guys. I mean, we have the protest going on. Look at everything that's going on within, you know, the Russian collusion. Give me 1 second, guys. I thought I had my. Okay, cool. You know, look at the Russian collusion with Democrats fighting against the Republicans, saying that, you know, Trump had ties with Russia, and then now WikiLeaks dropping out all this bullshit, you know, and that whole situation's getting very, very rocky. And then you're going to have Antifa, and then you're going to have this blackout, okay? And they said nationwide, but I don't think every single American is going to be avoided. And when I say that, I don't think the lights are going to go off. I don't think we're going to be sitting here in the dark. If you guys remember, I think 15 years ago, the Eastern Coast had that blackout for, I think, a whole day or something like that, 2 days. I lived in it, and I can't remember. But anyways, what they're really focusing on is communications. And this is what's being said. I mean, I brought out the video here on YouTube. For you guys that's on my Facebook, I've shared my videos on YouTube. I hope that you guys would have watched them, and maybe you might know what I'm talking about. But they're going to be practicing the communication system, which means radios will be down in certain areas, cell phones, landlines, and even internet connectivity would just black out. Now, again, like I said, they're not going to tell mainstream media this because of an idea of a nationwide panic. You know, people would actually think of, okay, you know, if there's going to be a blackout, again, agitators go out, they will go out with Antifa and protest and start looting stores and all this other stuff and just causing more mayhem. So instead, you know, let's just keep it hush-hush and only do a certain amount within certain cities within the nation. Wouldn't it be some shit if most of these blackouts happened in the sanctuary cities where we know that Antifa's amped up? I mean, that would just be, again, like I said, there's way too many coincidences going on in today's day and age. You got Antifa. You have Black Lives Matter. You have the whole Russian collusion, Republicans and Democrats. What's up, VCR? Ashley, hello. Starting to get some viewers up here. Alright, so there's just so much stuff going on. And then now when we really think about Antifa, now forgive me, I have to get my piece of paper because I wrote notes. When I brought out that I was going to do a live feed for you guys tonight, I actually sat down. I don't plan my feeds out or my videos. If you guys watch my YouTube videos, I don't script it. You know, I might write down my facts a little bit here and there so I don't get stuff wrong. But most of the time when you guys are watching my videos and it's delivered to you, it is what it is. There's not a whole lot of editing. It's not really scripted. You know, I just get in front of the camera, I hit play, and I say what I gotta say. And when we all think of Antifa, okay, and the anti-fascist groups, Black Lives Matter, you know, to me, and this is my opinion, guys, and you guys are probably, if you guys are following me a lot, you know, please, you'll understand that, you know, I have my opinions on things, and I'm never going to attack anybody for their opinions. Okay, you're allowed to have your opinion, I'm allowed to have mine. So anyways, I really think that, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter and Antifa, that's nothing but a terrorist group in my eyes. Okay, I know not a whole lot of people agree with me. Cindy Ellis, Mom, I did get the article. Again, I mentioned it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Sorry, guys, on Facebook, my YouTube chat is just blowing up at the moment. So, I might have to turn the chat off just so I can stay on topic here. So, Antifa, we don't know if it's going to cause a civil war. It's talking about they're going to be out there protesting. However, we have to think about this. We have to take everything collectively. What we know in the past with Antifa and the alternate right. Okay? We got two options here, guys. We can either fight hate with hate, which I can see a lot of alternate right groups ready to do that. They're ready to fight hate with hate. I can't tell you how many groups on Facebook and on Twitter that's talking about the November 4th protests. What would you do with over 3,000 comments on these things? And they're talking about lock and load. We ready to shoot. We can't do that. That's the kind of shit that they want. They want anarchy. They want a nation to divide. They want to bring on civil war for a martial law to happen. I mean, guys, now all right, now we're talking about martial law, which could go into the whole, if you guys do enough research and know anything about what I'm about to talk about, some of you guys may agree with me. The New World Order. There's always been a plan, whether or not you believe in Freemasons, the New World Order, hell, Skulls and Bones. I mean, VCR. You talked about that a couple yesterday on your video that you replied to my video. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you. You gave me a different opinion, a different view that I wasn't thinking of. Again, the New World Order, martial law. It would only happen on a nationwide, and if Antifa is going nationwide with this and it gets out of control, you do know that there's a lot of groups out there, a lot of people that's actually willing to go out. They're getting fed up of the American law system. It's being proven, and if you look and you believe in the Russian collusion, it's being proven that, American citizens have a totally different law standard than the elites, than the politicians. The politicians that's setting the laws into place for the American citizens to follow does not include them. They're excluded from it. But yet they expect you to do it. I'm sorry, I didn't vote you guys in, to dictate my life. If you guys set a law into place, be that shining example in America. And I think that's the problem. Americans and its citizens are just so fed up with being left behind. Now, again, you're going to have both sides, Sam. Based on your ideology and your opinions and your truth and what you researched, I can understand where you came from on that. I don't agree with it, but that's okay. We're allowed to disagree. But like I said, Antifa, anti-fascist, if you guys look at them in the past, they've been around for a while. And not just here in America. It's a worldwide movement. We know that Antifa's over there in the UK. We know that Antifa's over there in Europe. Australia has a branch. Anti-fascist is a nation or a global movement. Okay? And again, they create havoc. They create, chaos. They want, patriots, people that believe in being American and what it means to be an American. The alternate right's going to feed right into that hate and cause the Civil War. And that's what's going to make them win. When the alternate right comes out, and again, and when I say alternate right, I'm talking about white supremacist groups and whatnot, and the far right, and I say this real loosely, the far right deplorables, because, let's be honest, okay, I voted Trump. There's a lot of shit that's in these deplorable groups that I just, I keep my mouth shut and I just scroll on. Like, there's just so much hate in it. So what I really want to talk about is the idea of a martial law nationwide, and no matter what side created it, whether or not be the alternate left with Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the LGBT community, or the alternate right retaliating back because they are saying that they're ready to lock and load, and there's even agitators on the alternate right that would actually show up to these protests and actually start some shit. Can you imagine, again, like I said, November 4th, sanctuary cities going off with a massive Antifa movement. At the same time, you have a massive protest from the alternate right meeting up with them. At the same time, the Department of Defense does a blackout with communications. That's a worst case scenario right there. And we really have to avoid fighting, hate with hate. Me, I would, personally, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I would just walk away. don't show them no mind. I would rather love to believe that whole idea of let the crybabies cry and they'll get tired and go back to their mama's basement. But also at the same time, guys, I'm trying to, how can I say, understand. And it's very hard for me to wrap my head behind the ideology of it. So therefore, I am no one to sit there and say, oh, well, this is what it's going to be about. This is, it is what I said. I can't be that guy. I cannot wrap my ideology, my mind, behind a left, behind an Antifa ideology. I can't understand it. Is that dumbing down America? Maybe. Could that have been your Common Core education for the last, 20 years? Maybe. Could that have been the universities that's been doctoring these young minds with Common Core education? You're damn right. And when I say this, you guys got to remember back in history as well. We all know that President Trump has asked for the JFK files to be released. Okay? We all know the story about JFK. I believe, and again, this is my opinion with my research, okay? And you guys don't have to agree with me. I believe that Kennedy was assassinated, by the Patsy Oswald, but I believe that there was a bigger movement between, FBI, CIA, the deep state behind. Because again, JFK, alright, going to get it together. JFK promised that he was going to talk about the New World Order idea, and how that, it was a very live idea. And then next, he was the American president. He was the president for the American people at the time. And then after that, you have all the chaos breaking out in the 70s, 60s and 70s, with communists and all this other stuff, people fighting for rights and freedoms and all that. And he gets assassinated. New things come into play, guys. This is basically history repeating itself. It's all coming from the same person, the same ideology. Alright, if we look at, within recent history, I want to say within the last 20 years, we know the name George Soros. We know that he's been funneling money into these socialist accounts that he has. He's banned out of 2 countries and he's wanted in multiple other countries around the world for meddling in politics and setting up socialist groups and funding socialist groups to fight a resistance. He's been caught time and time again, guys. Look at Ukraine. That was a part of a Soros idea with the CIA help. And that's my opinion. If you don't know much about the Ukraine idea, please go do your research. Entertain yourself for a minute. Again, whenever you're reading into information and stories, there's a lot of conspiracy theories within stories. So that's up to you to determine what you believe. And that's okay if you don't believe what I believe. So anyways, we know about martial law possibly. The New World Order agenda. Okay. Now, my last video that I talked about, November 4th, one of my subscribers, VCR, he brought out a video in response. And there was another gentleman named Micah. He brought out a video in response. And I watched both these videos. And Micah's video I had to watch multiple times. Because at first I didn't understand what he was saying. He had an accent. I was also, I was doing the dad thing. So I was having a hard time hearing him. So I came back here, in my area. And I plugged everything in and I'm sitting there listening to it. And he's talking about the whole population idea. Where 80% of people they need to go for, the 20% of people. It would be a lot easier for a New World Order agenda to handle 20% of population. Again, I've heard different percentages. I do know that there's a depopulation idea within the New World Order. And when you guys look into the New World Order, you're going to find all sorts of stuff, within the Illuminati, conspiracy theories. And trust me, guys, there's a lot of conspiracy theories within the New World Order. Again, I'm going to let you guys come up with your own decision on that. your own opinion if you don't know nothing about it. But if you're looking at a new world order, you got to go back in history and listen to Bush Sr. talk about it. You got to look back in, look at that Denver airport in Colorado that they built. That thing's just, it's weird, for an airport. And it cost how much? There's just a lot of things that don't add up. Again, that airport may not even be a part of it, but, people brought it out. Again, conspiracy theories. And it's definitely an interesting one to entertain. I mean, you guys are sitting wherever you guys are sitting at, and I'm watching me. So, I mean, if you're entertained by me, please go. You're definitely going to be entertained by this stuff. So, and everything that we know about that's going on with, the idea of a new world order, and in order for a new world order to happen, to take place, is you need the chaos nationwide. You need hell breaking out. You need the collapse of the police system. You need racial division in economies. You need an economic crashing. Alright, you need every faction of a government to start crashing. I mean, it is what it is. And that would actually bring in a new government that would actually govern the world. Sort of like the President of the United States would take over the whole world. And then you have the UN, which is basically, it's being, conspiracy theory that the UN's actually the world's police. And if you guys think about it, United Nation and the White Hats, if you guys know anything about that. Andrew Goodman, welcome to my live feed. Yeah, I'm a little bit of everywhere. But we are talking about November 4th. Sorry guys. No, I totally lost track of my thought. The whole New World Order agenda, FEMA camps, again, that's just a conspiracy. But, let's look back into, deeper into history. And if you guys think about, a way to overthrow a government. And we learn from history. We know this, okay? We know this. This is, again, basic human common sense. History. History repeats itself. Now, however, what I'm about to talk to you guys about, you guys got to think a little bit. We're going to talk about the Trojan horse. That was a perfect example of what could happen in a New World Order scenario. In order to overthrow a government or a nation, you have to plant your invaders. Okay? And there's been a lot of speculation throughout the years, about the Muslim sleeper cells. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, there's sleeper cells, and that would be the Trojan horse as well. But, in today's day and age, we have evolved totally from, that area of the Trojan horse idea of where it first happened to, things are more complex. Things are more political. Things are more financed, more diverse. It's another reason for a perfect Trojan horse here in America. Antifa shows up. They've already, for the last year, the right and the far right, or I'm not even going to say the far right. The far right's actually been out there protesting and causing their own bullshit. But the right, the Republicans and actual true Americans that voted, Trump and love America, for what America stood for. And I said stood for because it doesn't stand for that shit no more. The America that we grew up in, the America and the values that I was taught and I was raised in, that's gone. And that's never coming back, guys. Even if Antifa succeeds in this March, November 4th, you could bet your ass that you're going to have the right and the alternative right and Republicans coming out. There is no way to just, this is not going to go away. You may agree with me, you may not. But just sit back and entertain the idea that there's no point. You can't slap a Band-Aid on this and let time pass this. We are at a point in society, in American society, there is no turning back. Now, with that being said, I'm going to talk to you guys. And I'm talking, if I have anyone here that's watching on my YouTube or on my Facebook that actually follow the idea of Antifa and love the idea of going out and causing a hell. Listen, I want you guys to think long and hard before you guys do this. Okay, I want you to understand what you are doing. Okay, even if you win this battle, it's going to start a fucking war. Okay, and I'm not on here, I'm not condemning, or I'm not showcasing and saying that, you know, I'm going to call to arms to people. I'm not here for that. I'm talking. Okay, I'm a talker. I'm not a fighter. I mean, I'll defend myself if I have to, but I'm here on social media talking to you guys, hoping that we can get the word out to some people. I'm sorry, my chat on YouTube, man, it's very sporadic. Next, you know, just stuff jumps everywhere. So I'm not really seeing a lot of your guys' chat. So if you guys are messaging or chatting with me and waiting for a response, I apologize to you guys. It's kind of quiet over on Facebook. I got a couple viewers, but they're not chatting. I think they're sitting back chilling. So, cool. What's up, Facebook? Alright, YouTube. So, you know, you kind of got to look at everything. You know, again, like I said, there's just way too many coincidences at this point in time. Alright. You have Antifa's protest, November 4th. Department of Justice, or Department of Defense, is planning their... matter of fact, it's a 2-day drill from the 4th to the 6th on communication systems. And then you also have this Russian collusion, whether or not it would have been Trump or Hillary. You know, you definitely have that nail driving into the stake. So there's way too much stuff going on in mainstream media and just daily life here in America. I'm not going to advocate for violence. You know, I would rather be the best person and say, you know what, if you see some shit, just turn and walk away. Don't give him no mind. Don't give him no fame. We already know they're already going to be showcased all over the place. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to be all over live feeds that day looking into it. You can download an app called Periscope. That's a great application that you can sign onto your phone and look at live feeds. You can actually blow up the world map and go anywhere in the world and see who's live and just tune in. That's how I see a lot of my live feeds for the protesting. That's how I'm able to see most of it going on. Now, so I'm going to get off here, guys. I've been live for about 37 minutes. I just want to say thank you, everybody. My channel's been open for roughly about 3, maybe 4 months. This is my very first live feed on YouTube and on Facebook. So for you guys that come and joined me and actually sat down and listened to what I got to say, I really appreciate you guys showing up. I am sorry my chat has been so screwed up for YouTube, or not, yeah, for YouTube. It's just, I'll go back and read the comments, guys. I'll try to respond back to you guys if you guys talk to me. Again, tonight was very special for me. It may not have been for you guys, but for the fact of the matter is that here over at the Ellis Network, I was able to go live and talk. So again, if you guys are just joining in, please, I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to take off. Go back, watch from the beginning. And if you guys live in any of these cities, if you guys wake up Wednesday and actually know, or not Wednesday, I'm sorry, the 4th. I don't know why I said Wednesday. You wake up and you actually see some stuff popping, you know, just use common sense. Alright? If you're wanting to avoid the whole idea, stay out of cities. Hopefully, like I said, it's just a nightmare and nothing's going to happen. But we also know from past, you know, Antifa, when they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And I can only say that if the alternate right actually responds like a lot of the comments that I see on social media, you know, hate with hate, it's going to get bad. Alright, guys. But remember, we cannot feed into that. We have to be the leaders, not the followers. So, everyone, please be safe. If you guys live in any major cities and you guys start seeing some stuff, you know, setting up for a protest or something like that, snap some photos or take a video. You can send it to me. I'll broadcast it on my channel. Let it be known. Even if you want, I can keep you anonymous. That's fine too. So, for you guys on YouTube that's just joining me, have no idea who I am, on Ellis Network. I pay attention to alternative news, a lot of stuff. mainstream media is talking about with an alternative twist on it. I'm not saying I'm making up conspiracy theories, but I'm talking about stuff that the mainstream media is not talking about. And I would love for you guys to stay with me. So click the like button, the subscribe button as well, and then there's that bell right beside it. It notifies you every time I upload a video on YouTube. And same as Facebook, everyone that joined me over on Facebook, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I created this Facebook account just for my YouTube and my sharing and all that. So again, guys, thank you very much to you guys. You guys are the reason why I keep going. There's only 70 of us that I know of, but numbers slowly climbing. So again, guys, thank you for showing up, and I will see you guys later.